What is up, all you RC addicts? This is Mike from RC Madness, and today I am going to show you how to, for one, install the Integy snow skis on a two-wheel drive Rustler. Now, the unique thing about this today is not only is it a two-wheel drive Rustler, but this is the four-wheel drive kit. I got tired of waiting for Integy to put their two-wheel drive kits back in stock or whatever. They've been on back order forever. I have not checked recently. Today is, I don't even know what today is, President's Day. I have not checked to see if they're back in stock yet. But I know a few weeks ago they were not. So that is why I went with the route I did. I figured, you know what, worst case scenario, I'm going to order the 4x4 set. If I can't adapt it, then I will put it on my Slash. But we have success. So, first things first, the few differences between the 4x4 version and the two-wheel drive version are mainly right here. It's in your arms and your steering mounts. I'll bring these up here. I have to pardon my inability to zoom. I don't have the remote or anything. So what we got here is your differences, or your thickness on your arm, and the angle of your steering. I'm just going to call it a mount. So your angle's different, your thickness is different. Everything else, for the most part, is the same. Now what you'll need to do to make this work, and I'm going to show you, because like I said, the thicknesses here are different. So what you run into is your spindle for your stock two-wheel drive, either your Rustler or your Slash, or any of your stock two-wheel drives. As you put this in, it doesn't go in far enough. You see there, all you have is that. It doesn't quite go in far enough, and there's a pin, your drive pin doesn't line up. So problem number one. Now, to remedy that issue, you take the front drive shaft off of a Slash 4x4. Has to be the 4x4, and it has to be the front. The rear will not work. It'd be awesome if it did, because there's just a little pin you can knock out, pull it out, and you're done. But you can't use it. It doesn't work because it's identical to the Rustler two-wheel drive front. This one here that I just showed you. But what you do is you take this little guy here. Let me start to zoom in here, so pardon my zooming abilities. I'm going to go ahead and just zoom in so you can see what I'm doing here. So anyway, so what you're going to do here is you're going to take, remember, it has to be the four-wheel drive. And I had a couple of broken front axles that I always keep around for just spare pieces parts, because you never know. Just take and cut this piece right here. Take and cut this plastic piece either with a pair of side cutters or something, whatever you got. You just take it, you cut that piece off, just break it apart and get to the inside of it. And the inside, this is what it's going to look like. You got your little cross pin here that molds in there so it doesn't spin around in there. And then you've got your hole for your drive pin. But you must use this, and the reason being, see if I can get these lined up for you best I can, is if you notice, if I can get it to zoom here, if you notice the drive pin location, Right here you have the rustler. Here is the 4x4 slash. That drive pin location is critical. Otherwise they are the same. Unless you want to try drilling a hole on top of another hole, you have to do this route. Because you're not going to be successful trying to drill a hole in a hole. So, pop that out, and I know this little pin right here, on one of my axles it was kind of loose, and I do believe this one it was not. So what I did was, you can use a little CA glue or super glue. What I did though is I just used Loctite, put Loctite on here and slid it in there, got it where I wanted it, nice and centered, and just left it sit. It hardened and it does not come out. So, but that drive pin, once you slide this in here, now lines up perfectly with the back side. I don't know if I can get it or not, but you can see where the drive pin would go in this little guy here. Now it lines up perfectly, and you have enough length to get your nut on still. So, just like you would on your normal front end, you're going to take and you're just going to slide that in there. You don't need a washer or anything. I've got bearings in this one, so if you run the VXL model, they come with bearings. If not, they're easy enough to upgrade. I do recommend using the RPM bearing carriers because you're going to have it flex a little bit to get this to work. So once you just slide that in there, you just put your drive pin back in like you would on anything else. All this here is straightforward. Nothing is any different than what you would do to put your wheel hexes on. So at this point here, you would just pop your wheel hex on and you'd be good to go. But that's where we come into this part. Now, the angle of this, I don't know if you can see. I'm going to try to get this up here, get it to focus. This little guy here, they're hardened steel, so they're tough to bend. But if you can notice, I have twisted mine slightly. There's probably an 1/8 inch, maybe 3/16 of an inch twist. You just take it and you twist it this way. I was able to hold mine in a pair of pliers, and or in a couple pairs of pliers, and just twist it slightly, but you don't want to mess up your alignment for your screws here, because those screw in. And that's all you got to do. You just get that bent just a little bit, a couple of test fits, and once it lines up close, that's really all you got to do. Any more than that, you're kind of wasting time. But that is why I recommend using the RPM bearing carriers. So from there, you just put these on just like you would if it was, your wheels. Just slide it in there. You make sure your drive pin locks in place. You put your nut on. And from here, it's pretty much, if you know how to put a tire on from here, you can put these on and they work fine. Now, what you will have to do is here's where it kind of gets a little tricky. It's really not bad. And I don't know that I can zoom in enough or not. Let me try to zoom in some more here. See if this works. It's kind of blurry, but it might work. But go ahead and put your steering arm in here. You notice there's a little gap there, and that's really not a big deal. I don't know if you can see, but yeah, you can see there's a little bit of a gap. It's really not that big of a deal. I suppose if you didn't have the RPM arms, you could stack some washers or something in there. Just use a little longer screw. But Otherwise, you just run it in there, do like you would normally do, putting it on there, and everything will just work out. Get it in place, get it lined up, run it down through, and then put a lock nut on the back side or on the bottom side. So, you know, the stock ones, they just, if I can get it to, line up here. I'm trying to do this on the camera so you guys can see, is a little bit more tricky than just doing it without. But once you get it in there, you get it lined up, you get it ran down, just like you would do any other way, and then just run a nut on the bottom side. Come on. Alright. It's being difficult, things are trying to move on me. It's not as difficult as this looks, it's just trying to hold things and do things, and anyway. Come on. There we go. Got her lined up. And then, like I said, take and just put a little lock nut on the bottom side here. And from here, your arm will flex a little bit. And just tighten it up. It's all pretty straightforward, and there it is. That's all there is to it. It's pretty simple. You can do it, you know, easily enough. Bending that little steering link, or not the link, but the little steering arm here. That is probably the hardest part, because it is hard steel, extremely hard steel. So it's going to take a little bit of grunt work to get that to actually work, or to bend, I should say. So if you got strong arms or hands, I guess, it won't be as difficult. But you know, if you're a 10-year-old kid or whatever, and you're trying to do this, you're probably going to have an adult help you out. Other than that, it's very simple. That's it. I mean, you saw what it took. I think me trying to figure out how to do it, I think took longer than actually doing it. But now you know, if you watch this, you know how to do it now, and it'll probably take you maybe 15 minutes. Unless you have issues bending the steering arms. Other than that, yeah, 15-20 minutes, and you can have a 4x4 adapted ski conversion on your two-wheel drive. Or you can wait till, you know, June, July, whenever Integy gets their stuff back in stock, and then, you know, plan ahead, unlike what I did. So, but there it is. So hopefully this helps some of you guys out. If you got any questions, go ahead and put the questions down in the link or in the comments section. I will get back to you with any answers that I can possibly give you. Obviously, if you like the video, give us a thumbs up. If not, go ahead and give us a thumb down. Please share. It helps us out a tremendous amount. And go ahead and subscribe, because it's free. So, but until then, get out there and RC.